You are listening to the Mark Lesko Podcast, a podcast by diehard fans for fans. Mark covers all things Penn State football and the Pittsburgh Steelers, as well as anything related to the sports and fitness world. Tune in weekly to listen to a couple of dedicated fans talk about these topics without filters. Thank you for listening to the Mark Lesko Podcast.
What's up, Steeler Nation? Welcome to the Mark Lesko Podcast. I'm your host, J-Rod, and this is Pirate Central. So before we begin with the Steelers, I just have to start with this. Let's talk about these guys for a quick sec. Because, yes, I do love Penn State just as much as I love the Pittsburgh city and everybody that has their games. Yep, I'm ready to talk about Penn State. You know, quick thoughts. 46-11, any given day, that is a wonderful score, and I was happy to see that they did win, obviously. Am I happy that it was a 46-11 win against Nevada? Not so much. Listen, I understand that, you have your first game and you're trying to get your mechanics down and everything, and listen, that's the first time they've ever faced Nevada, so with all that being said, it was a solid B-plus performance in my opinion. So the reason why it's not being given an A is, again, the point spread. They were favored by 42.5. I know the gambling line doesn't matter, but still, when you're favored by that much and you only won by 35, I know that's not that much of a difference, but listen, when you are regarded as a top three, not even a top five, but a top three team in the college 25, I'm sorry, you're going to have to put on a display, and I didn't see a whole lot of that. I did see some drives that, yes, they were doing some spectacular things, and yes, the new wide receivers, first and foremost, are great. I do like the combination of Pena and Hudson and Ross. Yeah, Dante Ross. Yes, Ross, Hudson, and Pena, all three of them had great games. Not like, oh my goodness, they made 100-yard plus games, but they caught their balls. They looked great doing it. The one drive at the beginning when Aller threw to, I think that was Ross's number one, or it's Pena. Oh, I can't remember the numbers. I know the names, but I do not know what their numbers are, who they're established to. But that play in the end zone, I thought it was not the best decision for Aller to throw to him. However, Ross was in coverage, like double or triple coverage, and he still had a hand on that ball. I mean, he got it batted away, but the fact that that kid still caught that ball and tried to make a play with it, with all that traffic, I was like, dang, that's an impressive feat by that wide receiver. So, yeah, they've got some talent with those guys. So, yeah, that's a good thing, absolutely. But there were a lot of things that caught my eye that it was just, why did it happen that way? And, of course, all of it was on the offense. Nothing was on the defense. Defensively, Penn State is ready to do a lot. I was very impressed with how they handled every single opportunity that was given to them. Now, I will say the opening drive for Nevada, that really did kind of make me cringe because it was like they were executing pretty effortlessly. And then it wasn't until they decided to go away from what was working for them and have it kind of handed off to their running back. And it took 2 or 3 Penn Staters, including the number 33, Denny Sutton. Is that how you say his name? I know Sutton is his last name, but man, he punched that ball out like it was like he's been doing that his whole life. And yeah, that was a huge turning point. I thought that really gave Penn State all the momentum, but up until that point, I mean, it was like they were making first downs. They kept driving the ball down the field. And it's like until that momentum shifted, I didn't know really what that game was going to look like. So, yes, they did do a lot of great things defensively, but communication and execution on the offense, that was – I don't know what to make of that. That was a very up and down kind of day, especially against a team like this. They do those things against teams like Oregon or Ohio State. Like, I don't know. Again, the more important thing is when you're trying to make a statement, yeah, you have to kind of give us what would this made it? So it was a 46. So they settled for several field goals, which again, Barker was very happy to see our field goal kicker doing great things. I mean, that was another great positive. But, not seeing a running back or any rushing over 50 yards. I mean, again, is that the line? Is that just play calling? I don't really know, because I'm sure as heck no, it's not about the players, their abilities. But yeah, a lot of it was very kind of like conservative and preserved, and I don't know. Or reserved. I just don't like how they handled a whole lot of it. But yeah, that was the kind of thing you expected from a game like that in terms of like high scoring. But they need to look a little more, buttoned up for the next one. I mean, FIU should not be that difficult of a team, but that's my 2 cents with Penn State. So let's get back into this, shall we? So the final roster moves. This is my kickoff for this episode, and we are talking about the final roster moves. And let's just bring this picture up, shall we? So for the final roster moves, we have it said in alphabetical order by position. For the quarterbacks, we have Will Howard, Aaron Rodgers, Mason Rudolph, Skylar Thompson. Now, you can again base things off of the preseason stuff. I don't think Mason Rudolph is going to look as bad as the play calling had suggested for the preseason, because again, it doesn't matter. I mean, if he does this stuff in the regular season, then yeah, it does matter. But yeah, Skylar Thompson, wow, just absolutely deserving some recognition. And, with Will Howard having the training camp that he had and not being able to see him, yeah, that really does put a damper on his future with the Steelers. I feel so bad for the kid, because being a native of Pennsylvania, especially in the Pittsburgh area, getting the call for Pittsburgh, yeah, that's going to be a tough one to have to try to explain. I mean, a lot of things would have to happen for that to change, but still, even if you were to try to get him some reps at some point, I mean, I know he's going on the IR, so I mean, it would again have a lot of things have to happen in order for this opportunity to happen. But yeah, the next training camp, it's definitely absorb as much as you can, and hopefully that when the time comes, your next year opportunities have a chance. Like, I know Skylar Thompson most likely will not be with the Steelers next year. He's definitely a great backup option for Rudolph, and I think Rudolph is going to be fine. I don't think he's going to be doing anything spectacular. I know what he did for them in 2023, that was great. The Steelers really owe a lot of their success in the 2023 season to the last couple of games, and he was a part of that. So I feel like as long as that chemistry and that sync is going to be there, I mean, he knows how to throw the ball. Maybe not as accurate or as efficient as Rodgers, but Rudolph definitely has an arm on him. So I very much trust what they have gotten. Is it better than last year's quarterback room? Yes and no, because again, the familiarity and the trust that you have with guys like Rodgers and Rudolph, and now even Thompson, that to me, this room, if last year's, when it came to knowing that you had both Justin Fields, who was a really great running quarterback, and Russell Wilson, who's had his many years, as well as Rodgers with experience, I mean, if they were an A- effort kind of result, I'd like to think that this is a solid B+ room still. I mean, it's not that much of a grade below, but yeah, it's definitely one of those things where it's like you're going to have to monitor very carefully what's going to go down with this team. So I like what I see from them. I know they're going to be fine. In terms of the running back, this is where it really gets interesting, because again, you have to look at what the offensive line will give them. But naming these running backs with Kenneth Gainwell, Caleb Johnson, Jalen Warren, are they all three better than Najee? Yes, all three together. But would having Najee as opposed to Caleb or Kenneth, I like Jalen a lot, so I would never move him out. But there's something to be said about what we've seen in the preseason that, again, it doesn't matter, but it's definitely a very cautious look. They have yet to really have the offensive line, all the starters, really kind of go on a rhythm. And that kind of is the thing I don't like when you sit your starters for the training camps or preseason. So it's you want to see it at some point. You don't want to wait until it's the game itself. But listen, we're so close, guys. I know it's going to be a really, really fun season, especially with the talent that they have. So, I mean, as terms of a grade, I'm not going to be mean about it, but I do have to be realistic. That's the one thing. I want to be optimistic, but I will have to be realistic as well. So, I mean, this running back room right now at this very moment, on paper, I'm going to give it a B-. It's just below a solid B. I got to say it like it is. Like, is it a running back room that strikes fear into you? No. I mean, they're fast. They know how to read the field, but we have to see what they look like with the finished product. And speaking of that, looking at the offensive line, you have Calvin Anderson, Spencer Anderson, Troy Fautanu, Zach Frazier, Broderick Jones, Ryan McCollum, Mason McCormick, Archus Pete, and Isaac Salamalo. Listen, knowing that Troy is going to be where he's at, knowing what Zach has now been and seeing it from last year, and Broderick, please show up this year and be as much close to an A effort as you can get. Like, if you can only give us a B+ of yourself, I'll be happy with that. But, you know, seeing the backup situation with Calvin Anderson, Spencer Anderson, and, you know, Ryan McCollum, you know, and of course Mason McCormick, they do great things. Isaac Salmalo is always going to be the standard in which we set the offensive line. Like, that dude has shown up from like day one and just done his job. I've never been disappointed with the guy. And again, you don't know what Troy Fautanu looks like. We're going to see him in full action this year. Hopefully that, you know, no injuries occur. They stay healthy. That's really what it's going to come down to with this offensive line. Is it going to stay healthy? I really hope that is the case. And yes, because they stay healthy, then the running backs can start getting going. And once the running backs get going, that's when Rodgers and company can really have some fun opening up the field and going down the middle of the field. And yes, there's going to be a middle of the field for freaking change in the Pittsburgh area. I'm so happy about it. Now, moving on to the tight ends. No, sorry, but offensive line grade. I mean, yes, this has been like the weakest thing that they've had. And I'm just going to, again, be realistic, and I'll give them a solid C+. Just right now, on paper, as the season starts, let's keep the grades, you know, fair, but at the same time, try to give them something to work with. So, yeah, I'm going to give them a solid C+ right now. And in terms of the tight ends, Pat Freiermuth, Jonnu Smith, Darnell Washington. That room should inspire some fear into a lot of defensive coaches that play the Steelers. Like, any defensive coach that has to take on the Steelers, if they see these three guys' names, that's a crazy, crazy room. That might be one of the best tight end rooms I've ever seen. I love everything about what they bring. Pat Freiermuth with his pass blocking and his just ability to open up the field. Darnell Washington with his size, strength, and his intuition and getting open every time because he's so freakishly tall. Like, how can you miss the guy? And then you have Jonnu Smith, who is a combination of both. He has Pat Freiermuth and Darnell all rolled up into one. It is a really cool combination, and I can't wait to see what they do with him. Like, it's going to be an amazing thing to watch this tight end room really help establish some passing game and make some things happen for the Steelers. I am giving this room the best grade. It's just an A. It's fantastic. I cannot ask for a better setup for what's going to happen this season. So there you have that. With the fullback situation with Connor Hayward, there is no controversy about it. I know Connor, they like to use him a lot. They want to keep him involved as much as possible. He has caught some great touchdown passes. So, I mean, he knows how to be a part of this system. So I understand that a lot of people are like, why do they keep having him? Because, yeah, he does know how to read this room. He knows how to take care of his play. And I guess he works really well with, you know, the offensive coordinator with Arthur Smith and, of course, Mike and everybody. So if it works, that's great. But, yeah, I would very much like to see more options for what the Steelers are going to do outside. But, yeah, they're still going to have him in the mix, and I think it's a good one. It's a solid B. It's nothing to go crazy, but, I mean, it's a good grade. So with that then said, let's get to this room. The wide receivers. Calvin Austin III, DK Metcalf, Scotty Miller, Ben Schoeneck, I cannot say that guy's last name for the life of me, and Roman Wilson. Guys, this is basically, I don't want to say it's less than a C, but we all know this is the weakest link right now outside of the offensive line. Now, again, I want to give it a C plus because of DK Metcalf, because, guys, by himself, that is an A player. But, and again, there's nothing wrong with Calvin Austin III. There's nothing. I've seen the dude on the field. He looks great when they use him. So, I mean, what am I getting at with this, where it's like you're looking at Roman Wilson and Scotty Miller. Yes, they're WR3s. Okay, Roman Wilson at best peak can be a WR2. Yes, I do believe he has the size and the skill set to do something, but as of right now, that's what you have to look at him at. You have to put him kind of in like the neutral zone because, again, he has not played yet in his career, in the professional game. So you have to kind of preserve that. And yes, because of that, I have to give this wide receiver room a C. Like, it's going to be, I never want to give a D or an F if it's not like, oh my gosh, they did nothing. But yeah, this right here is the worst grade. So overall, what does that give them? Like a B minus, a B for the offense altogether. I mean, yeah, it's going to be a good offense. It may not be a great offense, but it's a good one so far. So let's move on to the defense. And you look at the defensive line, Keanu Benton, Yahya Black, Daniel, Echolay, and Derek Harmon, Cameron Hayward, Logan Lee, Isaiah Loudermilk, and, Isizi Otum. Oh, yeah, good God. Yep, that guy. I'm so sorry, guys. I really hate that I cannot pronounce names, but if you're looking at a name for the first time, really, it's just like, yeah, that man right there. So I apologize if I cannot get that guy's name. So if anybody want to comment down below at some point, just stretch it out. Like, sometimes you see like how like with each syllable, how you say a guy's name. That would be very helpful, and so I can say that guy's name properly. The defensive line, I mean, listen, this is the strongest part of like the Pittsburgh. It's the defense itself. Everybody that contributes on the defensive side, I mean, you're probably not going to see anything less than a B on this side. So as far as the defensive line is concerned, I'm going to give this one, I want to say A minus, but I'm going to say B plus. It's so close to an A minus, but there's just these pause for hesitation just to like wait and see what they do. I mean, again, B plus. I mean, anybody should be happy with that if they're not like those overachievers, but I'm saying just B plus. It's a solid line. It's going to be a great feature for them. I hope they have figured out these guys in terms of their run, stopping the run. That was their biggest issue last year. They had no issues with the pass game, but their rushing, oh my goodness, they completely collapsed by the end of the year. So I will give this one a solid B plus for now. And moving on to the linebackers, you have Carson Brenner, Malik Harrison, Nick Herbig, Alex Highsmith, Cole Holcomb, Patrick Queen, TJ Watt, Jack Sawyer, and Peyton Wilson. Linebacker room, I mean, good gosh. I mean, everybody's name I very much that pops out to me. So, yeah, this is an A easily. I very much appreciate every backup because if anyone were to go down, these guys would be able to go in easily. Because when you're the highest paid defense in the NFL, you should have everyone's backup pretty much be a solid option. And yeah, they definitely have everything going for them. So yeah, we expect guys like TJ to have, MVP style caliber games. Now with Peyton and Cole Holcomb, those are the two, like, I think big factors that are coming into this season, knowing that what the linebackers have to achieve. Yeah, I feel like the best way to get to the quarterback is with these guys, and they have to know how to also take care of their block and get through their guys. So, I mean, they have very much a lot of potential to be something special this year. So at the end of this day, yeah, that's going to be the great room for the whole team. Yeah, I'm very much impressed with it. So the linebackers and the tight ends have the best grades so far. And defensive backs, you have Brandon Eccles, Deshaun Elliott, Dante Kent, Miles Killebrew, Joey Porter Jr., Jalen Ramsey, Darius Slay, and Juan Thornhill. Listen, you're talking about, again, some very prolific names, the guys that we brought in with Slay and Ramsey. It's like, man, that's about as good as it's going to get a guy like Joey Porter Jr. ready for the next level. Deshaun Elliott has just been a masterful find. I mean, when he was with Miami, I know he was with several other teams, but yeah, they have really given these guys great opportunities. Now, Juan Thornhill will be, of course, a bigger question where are they going to use these guys correctly? Are they going to improve on this? Like, I'm very curious to see what he brings that Minka always had but didn't use for a while. So, yeah, this defensive backs room, I mean, that's, again, a B plus for sure. Nothing lower than that because, again, when you have Ramsey and Slay, that really improves that cornerback situation. So this is going to be a fun defense to watch, guys. They should be a top 5 defense, potentially top 3. But they should be somewhere between 3rd and 5th best defense in the NFL this season. And then, of course, you have Chris Boswell is our kicker, and he's going to do spectacular things like he always did. I mean, he has been one of the more prolific kickers we have had in the last 20, 30 years. So I very much like the Boss. I know he is going to continue to do what he does. He is a solid A as well. So again, I forgot again, but tight end, linebackers, and kicker, these guys are all A guys, and we have so much room to improve. But as far as I'm concerned, guys, if you're looking at these final roster moves, if this team can't be at least, again, 11-12 win team, which I have them slated to be 12-5, if they cannot be at least altogether a B plus team, I don't know what else they could do. This is one of the more better names I've seen on the 53-man roster, so this should be a fun season to watch. So with all that being said, let's now focus on my 2-minute warning, which is going to be the 2025 NFL predictions. Like the entire NFL is going to be looked at. So without further ado, let's start in the NFC. So with the NFC, you are going to be seeing, let's start in the East, shall we? Let's just get this going. So you have the Giants, you have the Phillies, you have the Cowboys, and you have the Commanders. I truly believe, yes, the Eagles will repeat from that division. I think they're going to be somewhere, again, a 13-4 team. I think that the next team is going to be the Commanders, obviously with Jaden Daniels and company, Terry McLaurin getting his deal. That's going to keep them in the mix for the playoffs. I think they're going to also be an 11-6 team, so they should be a playoff as well. I'm going to give it to then, let's go with Dallas. I think they're going to be an 8-9, 9-8 team. Like, what else is new with that team? I mean, last 30 years, like they've just enjoyed being somewhere in the 500 area. We're slowly morphing into that, if you really think about that. But let's not get so negative. And then the Giants, I think they'll be a 7-11, 7-10 team, nothing less. I think they're going to be pretty okay. Like, they're just rebuilding. They're going through the transition. So pretty straightforward. And then the NFC North, that's an interesting division now with the huge news that Micah Parsons, former Penn Stater, now being the highest non-quarterback player in the NFL with $47 million a year, 130 some guaranteed. Like, dear Lord, I mean, the man is just going to be swimming in it. He can basically buy Wisconsin's district or something. Like, it's just crazy. The dude has got so much money now. It's not even right. But it's cool to know that a former Penn Stater is now the highest paid player in the NFL. Like, that's just a cool thing to know. But yeah, that's going to be a huge factor for the Packers. I mean, so starting with Chicago, I mean, I'll give that team's record probably a little bit like the Giants, maybe even less, like 6-11, 7-10, something like that. The Packers, I think if they were once a 10-7 team, they're now at least at 11-6. I mean, adding Micah definitely gives you an extra win. So you're looking at that setup with the Vikings. I mean, they could be right there, like 9-8, 10-7 too. I mean, I don't know what J.J. McCarthy's going to look like, but he definitely has a lot of work cut out for him in that division. And then I think the Lions, I mean, could they win this division 12-5? It's really just going to come down to what goes down with the division with Packers and Lions. And again, who knows what the Vikings is going to look like, but it's a very competitive division for sure. And because, again, teams like the Bears, where it's like you just constantly rebuild, and then you're in the middle of this insane like mixture of great teams in your division. Like, this is just not right. I mean, I don't want to say fair because I hate that expression, life's not fair stuff or whatever, but yeah, that right there would stink if you were a team like that. So let's move on to the NFC South with the Buccaneers, the Saints, the Panthers, and the Falcons. Bucs are going to have this division again. That's probably going to be 11-6 to win this division. I don't think they're going to have anything more impressive than that. And then when you go down it, I'm going to give it to the Falcons to be second in this division. I think they're going to be 9-8. I think the Saints are going to go 8-9. And then, of course, the Carolina Panthers. I mean, what is it, 10 years ago with Cam Newton? Boy, it's like feels like a lifetime ago with how they've kind of transitioned back into this team. And if they're 5-12, that would probably be the best scenario for it at this moment. But a lot of things can happen, but that's what I'm slating the record to be. In the NFC West, final one, the Rams, the 49ers, the Cardinals, and the Seahawks. This is interesting because, again, now no longer the Pete Carroll, Russell Wilson, DK Metcalf stuff with the Seattle. All the injuries may have gone away with the 49ers. The Rams, with Matthew, I mean, they constantly stay in the mix, but it's like Kyler and company. Are they finally getting over a hump? Like, it's a very interesting division. I think, I'm going to give the slight edge to the 49ers, just a slight one. I think it's going to be like 11-6, maybe even 10-7. This might be the weakest division in the entire NFC. Going second, I'm going to give it to the Rams. I will say, again, it's going to be another 10-7 team. I don't know if they're going to split or how they're going to look like the end. They may both have a 10-7 record. The Seattle Seahawks, I think, will be, I want to say 8-9 or 9-8. And then I'm going to say that the Cardinals, they're going to be somewhere around a 7-10, maybe 8-9 themselves. Like, it's all going to be clumped pretty close, I think. And they're all going to split each other, and I think they're going to have a 500 season. So, in the end, I think the 49ers are going to win that division. And then let's move on to the AFC. So, making this a little quicker. Let's start with the AFC East with the Dolphins, the Patriots, the Buffalo Bills, and the New York Jets. Buffalo's division again. 12-5. I think the next team will be, I'm going to give it to Miami. I got a feeling. I think it's going to be 10-7. And then the Jets, I think I'm going to actually give them a 9-8 record. And then the Patriots, I'll probably say the same thing, maybe 8-9. Again, all these really close divisions. Yeah, like it's going to be really clumped. But at the end, I think Buffalo, it's theirs to win. And then in the AFC South, I'm going to say with the Titans and the Texans, Colts, and Jaguars, I'm going to say that this division's this is interesting. Like, this could be anybody at this point. Let's throw a little wrench into something. I have a feeling that the Colts are going to win this division. Just by a slight margin. I mean, this might again be like a 9-8 or 10-7 division to win it. But then they go to the Texans, and I think they're going to have the same record of 10-7. But I just think the Colts have something a little extra that might surprise them. And then I'm going to give it to Jacksonville to be 9-8, and the Tennessee Titans to be 7-10. I think that would be an honest response to that division. And then I think in the AFC West, between the Broncos, the Chargers, the Raiders, and the Chiefs, I mean, the Chiefs are starting to slowly dwindle down and become mortal again. They're no longer the Olympic gods they once were. I have got a feeling that I'm going to give this one to the Chargers. I'm going to be kind of hot take, but I'm going to say the LA Chargers are going to somehow win this division. I think it's going to be like 11-6, 12-5, and I think the Kansas City Chiefs are going to be right there behind them. They're maybe a playoff team, but yeah, I feel like it's something of that nature. And then I'm going to give it to the Raiders, and then I'm going to give it to the Broncos. I mean, it's a tough one to read, but I'm just saying my two hot takes: the Colts will win that division, be a playoff team, and I think the Chargers are going to win their division and have the Kansas City be a playoff. Those are my three big surprises. In terms of our North, the AFC North, I think we already did establish what I said. I have the Baltimore Ravens winning this division 13-4. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to be second, be a playoff team, be 12-5. We may even be a third seed or maybe something like that. Maybe we get a home game for the first wild card round. And then the Bengals, I have them. I'll solidify it and say it's going to be 11-6 or yeah. And then the Cleveland Browns, I'm going to say they're going to be, I'll say 7-10. Like, I don't have any huge like disappointments. I think the only one I think I had is was the Panthers being 5-12. So, but yeah, like, so if we get all that lumped together, like, so in the NFC, I have the Phillies winning their division with the Commanders being a playoff team. I have the Detroit Lions winning their division with the Green Bay Packers being the wild card. And then I think that the Tampa Bay Bucks will be the sole representative and be a playoff, win that division, be a playoff team. And then the San Francisco 49ers winning their division with the Rams being a playoff team. So the wild card teams are, what did I say? The Commanders, the Packers, and the Rams. Yes. And then with the AFC, I have the Buffalo Bills winning their division. And that's it. I'm going to say that's the only teams that are going to, that's the only team that's coming out of that division. And then I have the Baltimore Ravens winning our division with Pittsburgh and the Bengals being a playoff team. I'll stretch it and say that all three of us are going. And then I'm going to say the Colts win their division and be the sole representative. I think the Texans are going to miss the playoffs. That's another probably big surprise, hot take. And then I'm going to have, and then I'm going to have the Chargers winning their division with the Chiefs being the other wild card. So the Steelers, the Bengals, and the Chiefs are all going to be the wild card teams. Yeah. So those are my playoff predictions. And again, I'll do a special like prediction for the beginning of the season next week to start it all off. So I really hope you guys have enjoyed this. I went 32 minutes. Like, goodness gracious, I don't think I've ever gone that long for my video, but I had a lot to cover, and I'm very much excited for this to get going. All right, guys, it is upon us. We are just a week away. Guys, get excited. It's the best thing to have football back. The weather is absolutely perfect in this state right now. I'm absolutely enjoying the heck out of it. It's slowly dipping into that chill, that brisk. Everyone loves that feeling of fall when it gets in here, and that means football weather, guys. It just means it. So, I mean, I'm excited. I'm pumped. I want this year to be a great year. Again, we don't know how it's really going to play out, but I will really try to map it all out for the playoffs when it comes. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. I enjoy doing this all the time. So let's get going, guys. Here we go. We're a week away. Get excited. You guys have a good one. Here we go, Steelers.